Commander Alan West stood on the bridge of the UES Valiant. The large viewing screen showed the approaching alien ship. It was twice the size of the Valiant. Its smooth surface shimmered with a purple-green light that reminded Alan of oil on water. "They're hailing us, sir," said Officer Kelly White from her communication station. Alan straightened his dark blue uniform. "Put them through." The screen changed to show the Xanthori Ambassador Creela. She had feathers instead of hair. Her eyes were large and gold. Her beak clicked as she prepared to speak. "Commander West," she said in a voice that sounded like singing, "the Galactic Concord welcomes this meeting." Alan nodded once. He did not smile. "Ambassador." Behind Creela stood representatives from 12 other alien species. Some had too many eyes. Others had skin that glowed. One looked like a walking tree. They all watched Alan carefully. It had been only 15 years since humans discovered faster-than-light travel. The aliens still saw humans as children. The Concord let humans settle on just 5 planets beyond Earth. They said it was for protection. Alan wasn't so sure anymore. "We received your message about New Montana," Creela said. Her feathers flattened against her head. "A terrible misunderstanding, I'm sure." Alan touched a button on his chair. The screen split to show images from New Montana. The human colony there was in ruins. Buildings burned. Bodies lay in streets. 5,000 people had lived there. Now there was silence. "This wasn't a misunderstanding," Alan said. "This was an attack. We found Draxian weapons. Draxian ship traces in orbit." The aliens behind Creela shifted and whispered. The Draxians were warriors with scaly skin and sharp teeth. The Concord had promised they were contained, that they were no threat to humans. "You told us the Draxians were under control," Alan continued. "You were wrong." Creela raised her feathered hands. "Please, Commander. The Concord has dealt with the Draxians for centuries. We will handle this through proper channels, through talk and agreements. While they attack another human world." Alan asked. His voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. 5,000 humans are dead, Ambassador. The Concord has failed to protect us." One of the aliens behind Creela stepped forward. He had blue skin and 4 arms. "What exactly are you suggesting, Commander?" he asked. "I'm not suggesting anything," Alan said. "I'm telling you that Earth will defend itself. We've already begun." Creela's golden eyes widened. "Begun? What have you done?" Ellen nodded to Kelly. She pushed buttons on her console. New images appeared on the screen. Earth factories changing from making cars to making weapons. Shipyards building more ships. Soldiers training in new battle suits. "The United Earth government has declared war on the Draxian Empire," Alan said. "We didn't want this. We came to space in peace, but we will not allow our people to be killed." The blue alien with 4 arms spoke again. "The Concord cannot allow this. War between species is forbidden. It threatens everyone." "Then the Concord should have protected us," Alan replied. "You didn't. Now we protect ourselves." Creela's feathers were completely flat now. "You don't understand, Commander West. The Draxians have fought wars for thousands of years. They have weapons you cannot imagine. Please, let the Concord handle this." Alan shook his head. "Your way has failed, Ambassador. Now we do things the human way." The aliens looked at each other with worry. They had studied human history. They knew what humans could do when pushed to war. "May the stars help us all," Creela whispered. Alan ended the transmission. The screen returned to showing the alien ship. He turned to his crew. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "We have work to do." Dr. Linda Murphy sat across from General Frank Collins in a meeting room deep inside the Pentagon. The walls were gray. The table was black. On one wall, 6 large screens showed images from around the world. Linda watched the screens. In Texas, a car factory now made tanks. In Japan, workers built laser weapons. In Brazil, young men and women lined up outside recruitment centers. All across Earth, Humans prepared for war. You wanted to see me, General? Linda asked. She was a xenopsychologist. She studied how aliens thought, how they felt, what made them different from humans. General Collins nodded. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. I need to understand them better, he said. The Concord, why are they so afraid of us going to war? Linda leaned forward. Because we're different, she said. Most species in the Concord took thousands of years to develop. They moved slowly, carefully. They avoided conflict when possible. She pointed to one screen. It showed the first human airplane from 1903. Then the first rocket. Then the first spaceship. Then the first faster-than-light ship. Humans went from the first powered flight to landing on our moon in just 66 years, she explained. We went from our first nuclear weapon to traveling between stars in less than 2 centuries. No other species has moved so fast. General Collins nodded. And now they watch us prepare for war with the same speed. Yes, Linda said. It terrifies them. They've never seen anything like it. The door opened. A young officer walked in with a tablet. Sir, we just received another message from Ambassador Krila. The Concord is offering new technologies, medical advances, star maps, anything to stop our war preparations. Collins took the tablet and read the message. Too late, he said. Tell them thank you, but our decision is made. The officer left. Collins looked at Linda again. Will the Concord try to stop us? Linda shook her head. No, they don't have a real military. They've had peace so long they forgot how to fight. That's why they couldn't stop the Draxians. That's why they need us, even if they won't admit it. The screens changed to show the sky above Mars. Dozens of ships gathered there. Some were old science vessels with new weapons attached. Others were the first true human warships, built in the weeks since the attack on New Montana. Admiral Sophia Cruz appeared on one screen. She stood on the bridge of her ship, the UES Defender. General Collins, she said, the fleet is almost ready. 28 ships now. 43 more will join us in the next week. Good work, Admiral, Collins replied. And the new weapons? The engineers say they work, Sophia answered. Based on Concord technology, but improved. We've made them more powerful, more deadly. Collins nodded. The Draxians won't expect that. Sophia's face grew serious. Sir, the aliens are watching us. We've detected Concord observation ships near Mars. They're staying back, but they're there, watching. Let them watch, Collins said. Let them see what happens when humans decide to fight. After the call ended, Linda looked at the general. The Concord species evolved over millions of years to avoid conflict, she said quietly. Most of them have never seen full-scale war. Not like humans have. Collins stood and walked to the window. Outside, the sun was setting over Washington, D.C. Do you think we're doing the right thing, Doctor? He asked. Linda joined him at the window. The Draxians killed our people. The Concord wouldn't help. What choice do we have? In orbit around Mars, Admiral Sophia Cruz watched as another ship joined her fleet. This one was different. It was built for one purpose: war. Its weapons were larger, its shields stronger. A message came from the ship's captain. UES Avenger reporting for duty, Admiral. Sophia nodded. Welcome to the fleet, Avenger. We leave for Draxian space in 6 days. The aliens watching from their distant ships saw the growing human fleet. They saw the weapons. They saw the determination. And they trembled. Jack Ryan moved through the crowded alien marketplace on Centauri Station. He looked like a tourist in his plain clothes. No one would guess he was once a top intelligence agent for Earth. Now he worked as a diplomatic aide. At least, that's what his ID card said. His eyes scanned the crowd. Hundreds of aliens from dozens of species walked past. Some had 4 legs. Others floated instead of walked. Some were taller than any human. Jack's special glasses showed him the names of each species as he looked at them. There were no Draxians here. They weren't welcome on Centauri Station anymore. Not since they attacked New Montana. Jack stopped at a small shop selling drinks. He ordered something safe for humans. While he waited, a thin alien with almost clear skin approached. This was Quill, a Meridian trader. His skin pulsed with light that showed his feelings. Right now, the light pulsed fast. He was nervous. "You are from Earth?" Quill asked quietly. Jack nodded once. "Just passing through." They moved to a quiet corner of the shop. Quill looked around to make sure no one was listening. "The Draxians know humans are coming," he whispered. "They have made their worlds ready for war. They have many ships, many weapons." Jack sipped his drink. "Where are their main bases?" Quill's hand shook as he passed a small data device to Jack. "This shows their strong points, their fleet positions." He paused. "The Concord has told them about Earth's history, about human wars. The Draxians are worried." Jack smiled slightly. "Good. They should be." "You don't understand," Quill said. "The Draxians have fought wars for thousands of years. They have destroyed whole species." "History doesn't tell the whole story," Jack replied. He put the data device in his pocket. "Thank you for your help, Quill." As Jack left the station on his small ship, a message came in from Earth. It was from Kate Harrison, the head of Strategic Command. Her face appeared on his screen. "Did you get the information?" she asked. Jack held up the data device. "Everything we need. The Draxians have strong bases in these systems." He sent the data to her. "But they're worried about us." Kate smiled. "They should be. Return to Earth, Jack. We're almost ready." Jack's ship was one of dozens returning to Earth. All across Concord space, human agents had been gathering information, making friends with species who also didn't like the Concord's rules, preparing for the coming fight. Back on Earth, Kate Harrison stood in a large room filled with screens and maps. Military leaders from around the world worked together, studying the information from Jack and other agents. "The Draxians have fought the same way for centuries," Kate told the others. "They attack head-on with large forces. They don't adapt quickly. They don't expect surprise." General Collins studied the star maps. "They've never fought humans before." "Exactly," Kate said. "They expect us to act like other species they fought. Slow, careful, following rules." A woman in a Navy uniform spoke up. "Admiral Cruz's fleet will be ready to move in 2 days. Where do we strike first?" Kate pointed to a small moon on the map. "Here, the Draxian outpost on Proxima Centauri's third moon. It's where they planned the attack on New Montana. Taking it will give us a forward base and show them we're serious." General Collins nodded. "And Commander Garcia's Special Forces." "They'll lead the attack," Kate said. 50 soldiers in our new powered armor suits, the best we have." On a screen, they watched as soldiers trained in the new armor. The suits made them faster, stronger, better protected. They were testing them by fighting training robots. "The Draxians think they're apex predators," Kate said as she watched. "The top of the food chain. The ultimate warriors." She smiled slightly. "They're about to learn they're wrong." Across the galaxy, the Draxians prepared their defenses. They had fought wars before. They had won wars before. But as they studied reports about human military history, about human determination, about human creativity in battle, they began to worry. For the first time in their long history, the Draxians felt something new: doubt. The Draxian outpost on Proxima Centauri's third moon was old. It had been there for hundreds of years. At first, it just watched the nearby solar system where humans lived. When humans developed faster than light travel, the outpost became more important. Now it was a forward base for the Draxians to attack human worlds. Commander Steve Garcia looked at the outpost through his helmet display. He and his team were hiding behind rocks half a mile away. 50 human soldiers in new powered armor suits waited for his orders. The suits were dark gray and made them stronger and faster. Each soldier carried advanced weapons. Everyone remembered the mission. Steve said quietly into his comm, "We need their communications center intact. We want to send a message. Keep damage to a minimum. And try not to kill unless you have to." His soldiers acknowledged the orders. They had been training for weeks for this moment. The first human strike against the Draxians. "Team 1 with me through the main entrance," Steve continued. "Team 2, take the side door. Team 3, secure the landing pad and watch for reinforcements." The night was quiet. The Draxians didn't know humans were here. Their sensors hadn't detected the human dropship that brought Steve's team to the surface. The ship had special technology to hide from alien sensors. "Begin operation in 3, 2, 1. Go," Steve ordered. His team moved quickly across the open ground. The armor suits made them faster than normal humans. They reached the main entrance in seconds. 2 Draxian guards stood there, tall reptilian aliens with scales and sharp teeth. They looked surprised to see humans. Before the guards could raise their weapons, Steve's team stunned them with non-lethal shots. The guards fell to the ground, unconscious but alive. "Main entrance secure," Steve reported. "Moving in." Inside the outpost, alarms began to sound. Draxians ran through the halls, grabbing weapons. They were warriors with centuries of military tradition. They were not afraid to fight, but they had never fought humans before. Team 2 breached the side entrance. Team 3 secured the landing pad. Steve led his group toward the command center at the heart of the outpost. A group of Draxians formed a defensive line in a wide hallway. They were 7 feet tall with natural armor and powerful weapons. They fired at the human soldiers. "Take cover," Steve shouted. His team ducked behind support columns and returned fire. The battle was intense but brief. The Draxian weapons were powerful, but the humans were faster and more adaptable. They changed positions. They used team tactics. They outmaneuvered the Draxians who fought in rigid formations. Steve's armor took a hit that would have killed an unprotected human. The suit absorbed most of the energy. Steve felt heat on his side, but kept moving. In just 6 minutes, it was over. The Draxian defenders were either unconscious or surrendering. 3 human soldiers were injured, but their armor had protected them from serious harm. Steve entered the command center with his team. The Draxian commander, a large male with battle scars across his scales, stood defiantly as the humans secured the room. "You fight well, for mammals," the Draxian said in rough human language. Steve removed his helmet so the alien could see his face. "We didn't come here to show how well we fight. We came to send a message." He turned to one of his soldiers. "Open a channel to the Draxian leadership. Make sure it broadcasts across all Concord space." The soldier worked quickly at the alien communication system. "Channel open. Sir, you're broadcasting now." Steve looked directly at the camera. "This is Commander Steve Garcia of the United Earth Defense Force. Your attack on New Montana was unprovoked and unjustified. Consider this our response. We have taken your outpost with minimal casualties. We could have destroyed it completely, but that is not our way. We are coming. We offer you one chance to meet with us for peace talks. You have 48 hours to respond." He ended the transmission and turned to the Draxian commander. "Tell your leaders we're serious." Across Concord space, thousands of alien species watched the broadcast. They had expected humans to be brutal and destructive based on human history. Instead, they saw precision, restraint, discipline. It frightened them even more. The Draxian Empire had awakened something they didn't understand, and now they would face the consequences. United Earth Ambassador Elizabeth Reyes stood tall as she entered the Great Hall of the Concord Assembly. The room was huge, with high ceilings that seemed to touch the stars. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in rising circles, like a giant bowl with Elizabeth at the bottom. She wore a simple blue suit with the Earth flag on her shoulder. Her black hair was tied back, and her dark eyes were calm but determined. She carried no weapon. She didn't need one. The room grew quiet as she walked to the center. All eyes watched her, some with fear, some with interest, some with hope. Ambassador Rise of Earth announced a tall, thin alien with silver skin. "You may address the assembly." Elizabeth nodded and looked around the room. She could see Ambassador Kreela with her feathered head. She could see representatives from the smaller species that often suffered Draxian attacks. And she could see empty seats where the Draxian delegation would normally sit. "Members of the Concord," Elizabeth began, her voice strong and clear. "Humanity did not seek this conflict. When we joined your community of species, we asked for your protection. When that protection failed and our colony was attacked, we asked for your help. When you refused to act, we were left with no choice but to defend ourselves." Murmurs spread through the hall. Elizabeth waited for them to quiet down. "You have all seen the broadcast from Commander Garcia at the Proxima Centauri outpost. That was our first military action against the Draxians. It will not be our last unless they agree to peace talks." Ambassador Kreela stood up. Her feathers were flat against her head, showing her distress. "The Concord cannot allow warfare between member species," she said. "Our civilization is built on peaceful coexistence, on solving problems through talk, not violence." Elizabeth nodded. "Peace is our goal as well, Ambassador. But peace requires strength to defend it. The Draxians understand this. Now they must understand that humanity is not defenseless." A small alien with 4 arms and blue skin stood up. "But your methods are dangerous. Your weapons, your tactics, they could spread. Other species might follow your example." "Perhaps they should," Elizabeth replied. "For too long, smaller species have suffered Draxian aggression, while the Concord offered only words. Now someone is finally taking action." Around the hall, representatives from those smaller species nodded in agreement. Some even stood up to show their support. Back on Earth, President Laura Bennett addressed the United Nations. Large screens showed her speech to people around the world and on colony planets. "We did not ask for this war," she said, standing at a podium with the Earth flag behind her. "But we will end it. And when it's over, the galaxy will understand that humans do not seek conflict, but we will never run from defending our people." In space, more species began offering support to humanity. Some provided intelligence about Draxian movements. Others offered resources or safe places for human ships. A few even sent volunteers to join the human military. The Concord leaders watched with growing alarm as their authority weakened. For thousands of years, they had maintained peace through rules and agreements. Now humans were changing everything. "You don't understand what you're doing," Ambassador Kreela told Elizabeth after the assembly meeting. They stood in a quiet hallway. "War changes those who fight it. It will change humans." Elizabeth smiled gently. "With respect, Ambassador, humans have known war throughout our history. We've learned its cost. That's why we fight only when necessary, and why we fight to end conflict, not extend it. The Draxians will not give up easily," Kreela warned. "They are proud. They are warriors." "So are we," Elizabeth replied. "The difference is, we're also builders, explorers, dreamers. We fight so that one day we won't have to." As Elizabeth left, other alien representatives approached her quietly. They offered information, support, alliance. The line between diplomacy and war was blurring. Humanity's reputation grew with each passing day. The Concord was losing control of the situation, and the Draxians, angry at the human audacity, prepared their response. They would not surrender. They would not negotiate. War was coming, and the galaxy held its breath. Admiral Sophia Cruz stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid. It was the largest ship in the human fleet and her flagship. Through the main viewing window, she could see her fleet spread out against the blackness of space. 38 human warships waited in formation. Beside them floated 12 ships from alien species who had joined the humans. They had arrived at the Ta City system. This was where the Draxians had planned their attack on New Montana. It was home to their largest military base in this part of space. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander Paul Williams, her second-in-command. He looked at a screen showing the enemy forces. "The Draxians have twice our numbers." Sophia nodded. She was a tall woman with short black hair and dark eyes that missed nothing. "But not our resolve. Begin the approach." The human fleet moved forward as one. On the main screen, they could see the Draxian ships forming up to meet them. The alien vessels were larger than the human ships. Their weapons were more powerful. Their hulls were thicker. "They're coming straight at us," Paul said. "No surprises there. Draxian tactics haven't changed in centuries." Sophia smiled slightly. "Then let's show them something new. Execute Pattern Delta." The human fleet suddenly split into 3 groups. They moved in ways the Draxians had never seen before. While alien ships usually moved in simple formations, the human vessels darted and weaved like schools of fish. They were unpredictable. "Draxian fleet is adjusting," reported the sensor officer. "They seem confused by our movements." "Good," Sophia said. "All ships, weapons free. Target their command vessels first." The battle began. Beams of energy cut through space. Missiles left trails of light as they raced toward their targets. Shield systems glowed as they absorbed hits. The human ships moved constantly, making them harder to hit. They worked together in small groups, focusing their fire on single targets. The allied alien vessels followed their lead, learning new ways to fight. The Draxian ships were powerful, but they moved in rigid patterns. Their commanders couldn't adapt quickly to the human tactics. "We've lost the Halifax and the Cairo," Paul reported grimly. "The Beijing is damaged, but still fighting." Sophia nodded. "Tell the second group to move in. Let's hit their right flank while they're focused on us." The battle raged for hours. Human losses were heavy. 5 ships destroyed, 9 badly damaged. But the Draxians lost more. Their strict command structure couldn't handle the chaos of human warfare. "The Draxian flagship is isolated," Paul said. "Their commander made a mistake, pushing too far forward." "Bring us alongside," Sophia ordered. "All weapons, target their engines and weapons. Disable, don't destroy." The Intrepid moved into position. Its main guns fired with precision. The Draxian flagship shuddered as its engines went dark. Its weapons fell silent. Sophia opened a communication channel. "This is Admiral Cruz of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your forces are defeated. Surrender, and we will show mercy." The screen lit up to show the Draxian commander. He was tall with red-brown scales and yellow eyes. A long scar ran down the side of his face. "You offer terms?" he asked, surprise in his voice. "After what we did to your colony, we are not like you," Sophia answered. Her voice was firm but not cruel. "Surrender and live to see a better future." The Draxian commander, whose name was Krull, stared at her for a long moment. "I surrender my ship and my forces in this system," he finally said. "I did not expect humans to show mercy." "You'll find we're full of surprises," Sophia replied. Across the galaxy, the news spread quickly. Humans had done what no species had done in thousands of years. They had defeated a superior Draxian force in direct battle. And then, instead of destroying their enemies completely, they had offered mercy. The Concord leaders watched in stunned silence. They had expected human brutality based on Earth's violent history. Instead, they'd witnessed something more dangerous: human righteousness. As Sophia looked out at the damaged ships on both sides, she knew this was just the beginning. The real war was still to come. But today, humanity had shown the galaxy what they were capable of. And the galaxy trembled. The war had grown larger. Human and allied ships pushed deeper into Draxian space. They freed planets that the Draxians had taken over. The Draxian Empire was fighting on the defensive for the first time in its long history. Colonel Maria Diaz sat in the briefing room on the UES Valiant. Maps and images of Drakkar Prime, the Draxian homeworld, filled the screens around her. She was a small woman with short brown hair and serious eyes. 20 Special Forces soldiers sat with her, the best fighters Earth had to offer. "Our intelligence is solid," Maria told her team. She pointed to a large building on one of the maps. "Emperor Vexor wants to end this war, but the military leaders around him won't let him. Our job is to get to him and give him a chance to talk peace." The soldiers looked at the maps carefully. Getting to Drakkar Prime would be hard enough. Landing on the planet would be harder. Reaching the Emperor in his palace would be nearly impossible. "We're not going there to fight a war," Maria continued. "We're going there to end one." Captain Greg Baker, her second-in-command, nodded. "How do we get past their defenses? The planet is surrounded by warships and defense platforms." Maria smiled slightly. "We'll be riding in a Draxian ship, a small transport we captured last week. We modified it to carry our team. We have Draxian security codes from Commander Krull." The soldiers nodded. It was a good plan. Risky, but possible. "We leave in 6 hours," Maria said. "Get ready." The journey to Drakkar Prime took 3 days. Their ship passed through Draxian security with the stolen codes. They landed at a small spaceport near the capital city. The team moved carefully through the streets. They wore cloaking suits that bent light around them, making them hard to see. Draxians walked past without noticing them. The aliens were tall and strong with scaled skin. They looked like walking lizards with sharp teeth and claws. "Palace security is ahead," Greg whispered into his comm. 15 guards at the main entrance." "We're not using the main entrance," Maria replied. "Follow me." She led them to a service entrance. Only 2 guards stood there. The team used stun weapons to knock them out quietly. Then they entered the palace. Inside, they moved through service corridors. Their map, provided by alien allies who knew the palace, showed the way to the Emperor's private chambers. Twice they had to hide as Draxian guards passed. Once they had to stun 3 workers who saw them. "We're almost there," Maria said quietly. 6 months had passed since the ceasefire. On the planet New Eden, the first human colony world, representatives from 27 different alien species gathered in a large meeting hall. The building was new, made of glass and stone, with tall windows that showed the green hills outside. President Laura Bennett of Earth stood next to Emperor Vexor of the Draxian Empire. They looked very different. She was a human woman with gray hair and kind eyes. He was a tall reptilian alien with orange scales and yellow eyes. But today, they stood as equals. Together, they signed a large document on a table made from New Eden wood. It was the Treaty of New Eden. It created a new alliance between humans, Draxians, and 25 other species. The alliance would be based on protection for all members and respect for each species' right to govern themselves. The Concord still existed, but it had changed. It no longer controlled military matters. Now it focused on science, art, and trade between worlds. Many species had left it to join the new alliance. Elizabeth Reyes, who had been Earth's ambassador, was now the Secretary General of the new alliance. She stood and addressed the gathering. "The path that brought us here was hard," she said. "Many died on both sides. We will remember their sacrifice. Humanity did not want to change the galaxy. But when we had to fight, we gave it our full strength. Now we bring that same strength to building peace." The alien representatives applauded. Even the Draxians, who rarely showed emotion, nodded in respect. After the ceremony, Ambassador Kreela approached Commander Alan West, who now worked as a diplomat. Her feathers were no longer flat against her head. They stood up, and what Alan had learned was a sign of confidence. "We misunderstood your species," Kreela admitted. "We saw your wars and your weapons. We feared what you might become. We did not see that the same passion that makes humans fight also makes them protect others." Alan smiled. "We're complicated that way. The Concord tried to keep the galaxy the same for thousands of years," Kreela said. Perhaps it needed to change. Around the hall, human and alien representatives talked and shared food and drink. Species that once feared each other now worked together. The Draxians, their warrior culture now directed toward exploration and defense, began the long process of making up for past wrongs. "What do you think will happen next?" a young alien diplomat asked Alan. He was from a small species that had often suffered Draxian attacks. Alan looked around the room. "We'll explore the galaxy together. We'll learn from each other. We'll build something better than what came before." "And if new threats come?" the diplomat asked. "Then we'll face them together," Alan replied. "Humans aren't perfect. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. That's why we changed from fighting the Draxians to making peace with them." Across the galaxy, on worlds that had known fear for centuries, people looked to the stars with hope. Children of many species played together on colony worlds. Ships that once carried weapons now carried scientists and explorers. A phrase began to appear in alien languages, a human idea that spread among the stars. Never again. It meant that while disagreements would happen, genocide and destroying other species would not be allowed. It was a promise, born from human history, now shared by all. In the night sky above New Eden, ships from Earth, Drakkar Prime, and a dozen other worlds formed an honor guard. Their lights shone like new stars. The same ships that had gone to war were now the guardians of peace. The same humans that aliens had watched in horror as they marched to war were now helping build a better future for all species. As Elizabeth Rice looked up at those lights, she smiled. Humanity had found its place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as the conquered, but as protectors. And the galaxy was better for it.